Welcome back, viewers. Let's take a look at what's making the headlines at this hour. India conducts another complex rescue operation from a war-torn country as the Middle East conflict blows up. 110 students rescued from Tehran via Armenia. After PM Modi meets Mark Carney in Canada, CSIS admits Khalistani extremist on its soil. For the first time, CSIS document says Canada is used as a base for promotion, fundraising and planning violence. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes his Croatia visit, the last leg of his three-nation tour. The Prime Minister hailed the visit as a landmark moment. In bilateral ties, with the 4 MOUs signed and discussions held to advance the India-EU Free Trade Agreement. US President Donald Trump hosts Pakistani Army Chief Field Marshal Asim Munir at the White House. The meeting comes after Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a 35-minute phone call with Donald Trump, stating that India would tolerate no third-party mediation in Pakistan. US President Donald Trump reiterates his role in India-Pakistan mediation ceasefire, but claims it was PM Modi who coordinated the ceasefire from India's side with Pakistan. The tensions in Middle East continue to boil with a fresh wave of cross-border strikes exchanged between the two countries, with the IDF claiming to have struck more than 20 military targets, including key nuclear sites across Tehran. Air India Chairman N. Chandrasekaran apologizes for the tragic Ahmedabad plane crash that resulted in the death of 275 flyers. This comes after the airline decided to reduce its international services on wide body by 15% in the next few weeks. Now, viewers, Prime Minister Narendra Modi exchanged the gifts with the Croatian Prime Minister Andrej Plenković during his recently concluded visit to the country. The last part of his three-nation tour finally came to an end, and details have now been shared of the Prime Minister's gifts to the Croatian Prime Minister. He has also gifted a silver candle to Croatian PM, an example of Rajasthan's traditional metalwork, and it also features the detailed floral and geometrical designs created using age-old engraving techniques. Patachitra painting was also gifted by the Prime Minister, which is a traditional form from Orissa, known for its detailed and colourful paintings on the cloth. These artworks usually show stories from Indian mythology, especially about Lord Krishna and the Jagannath tradition. Mehndi Garg is joining me with more updates. Mehndi, as the gifts picture on our screens show, the intricate and the executive designs that have been gifted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Croatian PM, what all also constituted as a gesture of warmth and a display of India's rich culture and tradition on a world platform, as it is a tradition that PM keeps alive after going to the nations on a visit and also gifting the most intricate and the most special, precious items as gifts.
Yes. Well, rightly said, Simran, because now Prime Minister Narendra Modi's three-nation tour has been concluded, and now the details are coming where, Prime Minister Modi gifted the traditional things of India to, on a world platform, we can say, to Prime Minister of Croatia and also to the President of Croatia. So talking about Prime Minister Modi's gift to, Prime Minister Andrej Plenković, he gifted a silver candle stand, which comes from Rajasthan which is a beautiful example of the region's traditional metalwork, and it was handmade by skilled artisans. It features detailed floral and also geometric designs created using age-old engraving techniques. So not only this, but also this gift depicts the old and rich culture and heritage of India as well in terms of Rajasthan, especially cities like Udaipur and Jaipur, which is famous for its silver craftsmanship. And not only this, but also Prime Minister Modi gifted a Patachitra painting to the President of Croatia, Zoran Milanovic. And this Patachitra is a beautiful traditional art from Odisha, known for its details and also colorful paintings on clothes. And these artworks usually show stories from Indian mythology, especially about Lord Krishna and the Jagannath tradition. So we can see that Prime Minister's gift not only depicted the rich art and culture of India, but also depicted the Indian mythology in which it was mentioned about Lord Krishna and also the Jagannath tradition. So it was a very heartful gesture by Prime Minister Modi, which was given to the counterparts of Croatia. So indeed, the visuals we are showing to the viewers as well, that how beautiful and how artistic these gifts were that the Prime Minister presented to Prime Minister of Croatia and also President of Croatia. Yes, Indicted.
All right, in fact, Mehndi, continue to be with us. What we are learning further are the latest details in the breakthrough. The Southwest District of Police of Delhi Police has identified and detained 17 Bangladeshi nationals residing illegally in the national capital. During the process of deportation, one of the female Bangladeshi nationals was admitted into Safdarjung Hospital due to the labor pain and has given birth to a baby boy. All 17 Bangladeshi migrants, including the newborn boy, are admitted into the detention center for deportation, as per the latest statement that has been issued by Delhi Police. Now, again, in the view of the mega crackdown against the illegal migrants living in the national capital and across the nation, the mega program has in fact taken pace, with the Southwest Police of the Delhi Police taking the matter into hands and deporting the Bangladeshi nationals from various parts after thorough inspection and finding the documents of these migrants. Now, joining me live on the broadcast with more updates is Arzu Seth. Arzu, 17 Bangladeshi nationals have been deported. They are right now being kept in the deportation center as well. What are you picking up as the official statement given by Southwest Police concerns with the latest breakthrough that has been achieved against a massive crackdown on illegal nationals residing in the national capital?
Well, Delhi police has been actively cracking down on the illegal Bangladeshi migrants, and the Southwest Delhi police recently detained 17 Bangladeshi nationals residing illegally in Delhi. And also during the deportation process, there was this one incident. A female Bangladeshi national was admitted to Safdarjung Hospital due to labor pain and gave a birth to a baby boy. Also, if we see, in a similar operation in June, the foreigners cell of Northwest District Delhi police apprehended 36 Bangladeshi nationals, including 17 minors, and in Bharatnagar and Wazirpur, these individuals lacked valid documents, visas or permits violating the Foreigners Act 1946. The police recovered 13 Bangladeshis ID cards and 7 mobile phones with the banned IMO app from their possession. Also, in another instance, the Southwest Delhi police detained 92 Bangladeshi nationals in the 10 days operation in May. So continuously we can see, there has been this process where the Delhi police has been actively cracking down on the illegal Bangladeshi that are residing illegally in national capital. And recently also Southwest District Police has detained 17 Bangladeshi, and also the process of deportation is also working hand in hand with the arrest of these Bangladeshi nationals in the capital. Yes.
All right, Arzu, continue to be with us on the broadcast. We are also learning further details in another big development that has taken place. Indigo has now released a statement on the flight 6E2006 from Delhi to Leh that returned to origin due to the technical issue which caused operational restrictions to land in Leh. Indigo, in the official statement, has stated that as per the procedures, the pilot returned back to Delhi. The aircraft is undergoing necessary maintenance before resuming operations In the meanwhile, an alternative aircraft has also been arranged to fly the customers to Leh. We regret the inconvenience caused to the customers and remain committed to the safety and security of our customers and the crew. This is what we are learning, as the statement by Indigo comes in the light of yet another incident that raises concerns of the series of disruptions that have happened after the Ahmedabad Air India flight crash, putting the onus on the flight safety measures, which the central government has also taken a cognizance of and notified the amended rules for the aviation watchdog and the departments working to ensure the safety protocols. Arzu is joining me live with more updates. Arzu, what are you picking up? Indigo has issued a statement. The statement pertains to the disruptions that have caused on the flight from Delhi to Leh. What more can you share with our viewers as far as the technical glitch is being understood as the cause?
An Indigo flight 63206, which was going from Delhi to Leh, made an emergency landing, and the reason is being said that there was some technical disruption, the technical reason due to which there was an emergency landing that is being done. Also, the aircraft turned back and landed safely in Delhi shortly after approaching Leh, and around 180 people were on board. Also, the Indigo flight 2006 operating from Delhi to Leh on 19 June returned to origin due to the technical issue which caused operational restriction to land in Leh. This is what the Indigo has to say. Also, as per procedure, the pilot returned back to Delhi. The aircraft is undergoing necessary maintenance before resuming operation. Meanwhile, the arrangement for the passengers are being done. An alternative aircraft has been arranged to fly the customers to Leh. Also the Indigo regrets the inconvenience caused to the customers, and also said that we remain committed to the safety and security of our customer and crew. So, keeping in mind the safety of the passenger, the emergency landing that is being done in Delhi, the flight returned back to Delhi, but now there has been an alternative aircraft which has been arranged to fly the customer to Leh. Yes, Simran.
All right, thank you very much for these latest details. Now, viewers, India has taken out the swift operation of evacuation and launched an Operation Sindhu, a mission aimed at ensuring the safety and evacuation of Indian nationals from Iran. The first evacuation flight carrying 110 Indian citizens landed in the national capital from Armenia today amid the escalating military conflict between Iran and Israel, while the other batch of students will be evacuated through Turkmenistan today. However, this is not the first time that the Indian government has stood to protect and evacuate its citizens from the unsafe situations. The 2020 Wuhan rescue operations, the rescue of students from Ukraine amid the war, and several of the operations stand as a proof of the Indian government's resolute to ensure the safety and the well-being of the Indian citizens abroad amid the conflicting regions. Let's take a close look at some of the biggest rescue operations that have been conducted in India in the last 20 years, or we can say a decade, where in fact the focus has been on safeguarding the Indian nationals at large before they get stranded into any of the regions. Now, let's take a look at the India's rescue operations. In the year 2006, the Operation Sukoon did take place during the Israel-Beirut conflict, which broke out. And in fact, after evacuation of 2,280 citizens from Indian and Nepali origin, the Indian government did offer in fact a very safe and the smooth process of the evacuation, while also it constituted of the Indian, Nepalese and Sri Lankan origin citizens that were stranded in the Beirut and Israel conflict. Then thereafter, 5 years later, Operation Safe Homecoming 2011 did take place amid the war in Libya, which was a civil war which had broken out. 15,400 Indians were rescued and safeguarded during the times of crisis while the civil war in Libya broke out. Operation Rahat, then 4 years later, after the Houthi rebels and in fact overthrew the government with the which was launched during the conflict between Yemeni government and the Houthi rebels, which safeguarded the Indian citizens in the numbers of 5,600 and included the foreign nationals as well that were rescued in the operations and the processes that the Indian government had arranged to safeguard their safe return. Then Wuhan airlift in the year 2020, this was of course the time when COVID had broken out and there was panic and chaos. In the year 2020, during the time of the coronavirus, 637 plus Indian nationals and 7 Maldivians from Wuhan, which is the origin of the breakout of the COVID-19 SARS-CoV virus, and these were evacuated after the outbreak did take place and then finally in fact made it to the world. Then from 2020 to 2021, the Vande Bharat mission did take place where the government brought back 6 million Indians from around the world during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the course of the outbreak, bringing back the stranded Indians from across the parts of the world, the Vande Bharat mission was one of them. The Operation Devi Shakti 2021, 4 years ago, hundreds of Indians and Afghan partners evacuated from Afghanistan after Taliban's takeover of Kabul. This was a time when in fact Afghanistan was also looking at the possible crisis emerging after Taliban's takeover of the Kabul. Now Operation Ganga did take place in the year 2022, where to bring back the Indian students from Ukraine following the Russia-Ukraine war that did break out and went on for over a year, while 18,000 students were rescued during that initial time of the stress call. Later on, after the year 2022, the Operation Kaveri 2023 did come place. Indian citizens evacuated from a civil conflict in the Sudan country, where 4,097 Indian citizens were rescued in the ongoing operations. And this is the time when we are looking at right now, when the Indians that have been stranded in Iran have been rescued so far, and even 110 students are also a part. Colonel T.P. Tyagi is joining me live on the broadcast. Now, appreciate you joining me live on the telecast, Mr. Tyagi. At this point of time, we see that the Indian government's resolve and the first immediate response to the distress call of the Indian origin citizens in any nation that continues to engage into hostilities and in fact attacks from the crisis has been to safeguard their safety and bring them back. In a very welcome move, this is being also seen as the commitment by the government to ensure that all the students and the citizens remain safe, even though in fact this should be any government's first priority. But the students have come back home, and how do you look at this very move coming at this point of time, given that the Israel-Iran conflict has entered the 7th day and only continues to escalate further?
This is a very, very, very highly appreciable, inspirational, and very commendable move. And this is the way the citizens, they develop confidence in their government. And particularly the present government has done it repeatedly. They did it. I just take few later examples which you have also mentioned, from Yemen, from Afghanistan, from Ukraine. In all these 3 situations, our people were brought back in dangerous situations, in war-like situations. And similar thing has happened now, when about 1,100, I think, students have come through Armenia. Now, Armenia is another country which is our friend. We are supplying defense equipment to them. They also help us, and through them, we are getting our people back from Iran. The fight between Iran and Israel is very intense at the moment. Imagine Israel, a country which most of its action is now suffering so greatly that they could not have ever imagined the type of missiles which Iran is launching on them. Under these situations, when Iran is also being attacked extensively, So under this very tough war situation, it is not like a Iran-Iraq war which went on for 9 years. It is 5-6 days intense war. In that war-like situation, in that war situation, to bring back our people from a war-torn country, now this is something very creditable. It enforces our faith in the government, and the government deserves congratulations for it, badhai for it, thanks for it.
Well, Mr. Tyagi, in fact, as we also keep a very close lens on these developments that are being tracked from the point where the escalation is taking place, how do you view the latest statement by the US President Donald Trump? It seems to be now leaving both the nations in a state of confusion, as there is no anticipation of how the future of this escalation is going to look like, with more hostilities and strikes back and forth being reported.
Again, the President of United States, Donald Trump, he is known for changing his statements, and his letter and spirit are not consistent. Sometimes he says that yes, I want to have a deal with Iran. Sometimes he says that the time is out. Now I cannot do anything. Iran wants to speak to me, but I don't have time for them. Then he again says, this is the last chance. I am preparing. And in fact, America was preparing, not now, since last more than 2 months, the type of deployment which you see in the Indian Ocean, in the Diego Garcia, where he has deployed his B-2 bombers, and also in the Mediterranean Sea, in the Middle East region. So America was doing all these things were being done by Pentagon. But Donald Trump has created such a situation in such a confusion that you cannot come to a straight point that what actually he wants to do. Now today, the latest is he says that now in the situation room, I am going to situation room once again, and in the morning there was a news that he has now asked his army to be ready for attack. Ready for attack, he's saying since last 3 days. Since last 3 days, there were news coming. All our ships and all our armies have been put on Bravo preparedness. Bravo preparedness means it is the Alpha preparedness, then the Bravo preparedness. Bravo preparedness means you are ready for attack. So you were ready for attack 48 hours earlier. Today morning, issuing such a statement that we are now asking our armies to be prepared for attack. Either you say that yes, now the attack will take place, or so Donald Trump's statements are not very clear. You cannot make out of it. But at the other side, Khomeini has given very few statements, but very meaningful statement. He said America should know, and America, I hope that they know that we are not going to surrender. Now, if they don't surrender, it means that the war is likely to be to continue. But then, if America intervenes between Israel and Iran, then Iran has said that we will attack all your military bases in Middle East. America has got more than 1.5 dozen military bases in Middle East, about 50,000 troops. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, the military bases of America do not have adequate air defense system, and the long-range ballistic missiles of Iran are very lethal, and they can definitely harm them. And if that happens, then this war takes a bigger shape. Russia and China, which till now have not come forward openly, but they may join. North Korea has already said that yes, Tehran should not consider that she is alone. I am also with them, means North Korea is with them. So if that happens, then again, as it happened in World War I and in World War II, it will appear as if the globe is getting divided into Axis and allied powers. means in two different blocks, it may be divided. Means again, a new world war may start. So now it is a $1 million question whether America intervenes or does not intervene. If it does not intervene, then it has got two options. One is that it may provide GBU-57 bomb, which is about 3 ton, 3.5 ton, and it may provide B-2 bomber which can carry it to demolish the Fordo nuclear base in Iran. And that is the main thing on which the entire thing now hinges, that we have to destroy the nuclear capability of Iran. How will you destroy? If you destroy their centrifuges, if you destroy their uranium, which they have already enriched. And that is at Fordo nuclear facility. And that can be destroyed only by GBU-57, and that too not by one, but by two, because the first may go
All
up
right,
to
Mr.
30.
Tyagi, Colonel TP Tyagi, thank you for being with us on the broadcast. Now, I also have my other guest, esteemed guest, Major General Sudhakar ji, joining me live on the broadcast. In fact, as we are also discussing the fine tunes of these developments coming from the Middle East, the questions remain large as the statement from the United States President Donald Trump is concerned. Donald Trump's cryptic threat amid the escalating Iran-Israel conflict has also signaled at a state of confusion, while he declined to reveal whether the United States would join Israel's military campaign targeting Iranian nuclear sites or not, and also issuing statements like nobody knows what I can do or what can be done. How do you look at these statements, completely in fact leaving both the nations at this point of time, or even the people who are looking at these developments with a magnifying glass with no clarity as the United States stand is concerned, rather than being sure and firm? This is what the statements are coming without any substantial understanding of how exactly the United States stand is going to be portrayed. Major General Sudhakar ji.
Yeah, Simran, firstly, good morning, and I must compliment Newsx covering this particular development threadbare in a very professional manner, and you are doing your part in a absolutely enviable manner. And as regards the question which you have asked, you see, unfortunately, there are issues which are gaining momentum in the homeland of USA as on today. There are issues with regard to invocation of an act, that Alien Act of, I think, 1971 or something, by which the illegal migrants are being handcuffed. There has been riots in Los Angeles. Army has been called in, maybe perhaps for the first time, for such kind of job, much against the constitutional obligations and the parameters. So these are all very serious issues which are taking place. People who are in know-how of the constitutional obligations, they have started reflecting about impeachment of the president. People are talking. So these are the issues which are going on in the domestic constituency of America under these circumstances. Also, there are issues which have been either leaked or have come the open source media by none other than Tulsi Gabbard's name is coming.
Well, all right. In fact, Major General Sudhakar ji, thank you very much. With the shortage of time, we will have to move forward on that note. And the breaking development that we are learning further, in fact, pertains to the Yashwant Justice Verma panel that has given out a full 64-page report that has been accessed across 10 days, 55 witnesses that have been questioned by the committee. Panel recommendations, the removal of Justice Varma, saying that sufficient substance in the allegations raised, and also that misconduct found proved serious enough. Let's take a look at the report that we are in fact tracking at this point of time. 64-page report has been revealed, and as you can see, there have been evidence which have been also attached in this report. This is a 3-member committee report constituted in the pertaining matter of the cash which has been found at the residence of Justice Yashwant Verma, who is a former judge of the High Court and presently the High Court judge of Allahabad. saying the events which started from the 14th of March, where in the storeroom of the residence of Tuklak Crescent, which is the official residence of Justice Yashwant Verma, who is a sitting judge of the Delhi High Court, led to the constitution of the committee by the CGI. As per the eyewitnesses and the records of the testimonies that have so far been gathered and assisted in this report, the statements follow that the fire personnel and the Delhi police officials had reached the spot on receiving a request for help from the residents of the house and the private secretary of the sitting judge, who himself was not in the station at the relevant point of time, which pertains to the absence of Justice Yashwant Verma. And it also says that apparently in the process of dousing the fire personnel have quoted also the Delhi police. They took the photographs of the debris in the storeroom, which had broken out, and then it revealed the currency of high denomination which got burnt and affected, which are also shared in this report and also quoted with the higher officials for the 3-member committee of the judge. As per the statements that have been attached in this report, it is mentioned that the same was also conveyed to the Commissioner of Police Sanjay Arora of Delhi and the CGI judge as well on the next day, where the cash was recovered in a burnt state was also conveyed. Now, as the reports also give out a fact that the site which was inspected at night of the next day of Justice Verma and his private secretary Rajinder Singh Kharki had many discrepancies. Sambhav Sharma is joining me live on the broadcast. Sambhav, what we are looking at is the access report, 64-page report of the probe findings of Justice Yashwant Verma, which had raised concerns on the ethical nature of the practice of judiciary. What are you picking up as the key takeaways of this report is concerned?
Now that the report is with us, Simran, the committee was formed, this particular committee whose report is with us, this 3-member committee, in-house committee, which was formed by the then Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna on March 22nd, which comprised of 3 judges, including Justice Sheel Nagu of Punjab and Haryana High Court, Justice T.S. Sandhavaliya of Himachal High Court, and Justice Anu Shiva Raman of Karnataka High Court. The committee submitted its report, and as per the report, based on direct and in electronic evidences, the committee concluded that there are sufficient substance in the allegation to initiate the impeachment proceedings against Justice Verma, who has since been transferred to Allahabad High Court. Also, there are very important revelations in this particular report, wherein as per the report, Justice Verma's personal secretary Rajinder Singh allegedly instructed fire personnel not to mention the presence of burnt note in the report, though he later denied it, and witness and electronic evidence suggests otherwise. Also, one witness described being shocked to see heaps of 500 rupees notes scattered across the storeroom floor, calling it the first such experience in life. I'm reading it, the important pointers from this particular report. And also several witnesses, including at least 10 examined by the committee, admitted to see the large sacks of burnt or half-burnt 500 rupees note. Also, this 64-page report concluded that the access to storeroom was under the secret or active control of Justice Yashwant Verma and his family members. So these are very shocking revelations out of this particular 3-member panel, 3-member in-house committee constituted by the then Chief Justice of India, which submitted its report in first week of May. Later on, this particular report and Justice Yashwant Verma's personal comment on it to Chief Justice of India was sent to the Prime Minister, President of India, and Prime Minister of India by the then Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna. So now that we have the report, as per it, the burnt currency was removed from the storeroom early on March 15, according to strong circumstantial and testimonial evidences cited in the report. Also, the committee report confirms that partially burnt cash was found in the storeroom, which was officially under Justice Yashwant Verma's control, because back then Justice Yashwant Varma was the sitting judge of the Delhi High Court. Now he is the judge of the Allahabad High Court. He was transferred later on. The committee recorded the statements from 55 witnesses over 10 days and video recorded each testimony to ensure authenticity and procedural fairness. So this is the report which we have now, and Supreme Court appointed this panel. This panel visited Justice Yashwant Verma's official residence took place recent in New Delhi, and at Justice Yashwant Verma's residence around on 14th of March around 11:35 p.m. So these are the official pointers out of what we have as of now on.
Well, all right, Sambhav, continue to be with us. So what we are also looking at this point of time are the very crucial paragraphs that have been attached in the reports. These are the conclusion, as at the end of the report it has been mentioned by the probe committee, which has been specifically constituted. And let me read out the points which have been made in conclusion. And as it states in the conspectus of the decision, analysis and the threadbare marshalling of the statements that have been made by the 55 witnesses, including the statement of Justice Verma, the committee has to now render the findings in regard to the clause 5 of the procedure that has been laid down for the conduction of the inquiry of the in-house committee constituted by Honorable Chief Justice of India, which reads following the clause 5 pointers, and I will read it out, saying that after the inquiry, the committee may conclude and report to the CGI, saying that there is no substance in the allegations contained in the complaint, and moving forward, there is sufficient substance in the allegations contained in the complaint, and the misconduct disclosed is so serious that it calls for the initiation of the proceedings of the removal of the judge. There is also substance in the allegations contained in the complaint, but the misconduct disclosed is not of such a serious nature as to call for initiation of the proceedings for removal of the judge, which also further mentions that the copy of report shall be furnished to the judge concerned by the committee. Now, let me move forward with the next point that also constitutes as a very important point in the conclusion, saying that before recording the conclusion, the committee deems it appropriate to ponder over the certain aspects which lie at the foundation of the constitution of the committee, that is to inquire into the acts of omission and commission of the judges of higher judiciary who fail to follow universally accepted values of judicial life. This is what has been also cited as a very important paragraph, viewers. Now, moving forward, the conclusion of the committee probe also cites that it has been more than 3 decades when the restatement of values of judicial life, which have also been stated as you can see, mention that justice must not merely be done, but it must also be seen to be done. The behavior and the conduct of the members of the higher judiciary must reaffirm the people's faith in the impartiality of the judiciary. Accordingly, any act of the judge of the Supreme Court or that of the High Court, whether in official or the personal capacity, which erodes the credibility of this perception, has to be avoided. That is the first point of the restatement of the values of judicial life that has been here as attached, and moves forward with also laying it down with the second point, saying that a judge should not contest the election to the official of a club, society or any other association. Further, he shall not hold such elective office except in a society or association concerned with the law. Thirdly, the restatement of values of judicial ethical values concerns that the close association with the individual members of the bar, particularly those practiced in the same court, shall be eschewed, and while it also says and adds that a judge should not permit any member of the immediate family, such as spouse, son, daughter, son-in-law or daughter-in-law or any other close relative of a member of the bar to appear before him or even be associated in any manner with the cause to be dealt by with him. Further, the restatement mentions that no member of his family who is a member of the bar shall be permitted to use the residence in which the judge should actually resides or other facilities for professional work. Moving forward, it also says that a judge should practice a degree of aloofness consistent with the dignity of his office. It also mentions that judge shall not hear and decide a matter in which a member of his family or a close relation or a friend is concerned. A judge shall not enter into public debate or express his views in public on the political matters or on the matters that are pending or are likely to arise for judicial determination. The judge is expected to let his judgment speak for themselves. He shall not give interview to the media. Judge shall not accept gifts or hospitality except from his family, friends, close relations and friends. Judge shall not hear and decide a matter in which a company in which he holds share is concerned unless he has disclosed his interest and no objection to his hearing and deciding the matter is raised. A judge shall also not speculate in the shares, stocks or the like. 13th point of the restatement of the judiciary value says that a judge should not engage directly or indirectly in trade or business either by himself or in the association with any other person, while the publication of a legal treatise or any activity in the nature of a hobby shall be construed as trade or business. The last, in fact, few of the last points that are being made here in the 14th point says that the judge should not ask for, accept contributions or otherwise actively associate himself with the raising of any fund or the purpose. A judge should not seek any financial benefit in the form of a prerequisite or privilege attached to his office unless it is clearly available. Any doubt in this behalf must be resolved and clarified through the Chief Justice. The last point makes this thing very apparent that every judge must at all times be conscious that he is under the public gaze and there should not be any act or omission by him which is unbecoming of the high office he occupies and the public esteem in which that the office is held. These are only the restatement of the values of judicial life and are not meant to be exhaustive but illustrative of what is expected of a judge. All right, as you can see, this is also another big paragraph of the last page of the report that is the probe report of Justice Yashwant Verma, saying that the aforesaid enumerated values of judicial life, it is obvious that all the virtues expected from a judge are founded upon the concept of probity. Probity qua a judge is measured by the yardstick which is much more stringent than the probity expected of a civil post holder. The element of probity becomes predominant, relevant and indispensable when the offices of the higher judiciary are in question. The expectation of the general public from a member of the superior judiciary is extremely high. Probity is the most important and indispensable attribute of a person holding judicial office and is rather the basic eligibility criteria. It also states that least that is expected of any judicial officer of district or the higher judiciary is unimpeachable character and conduct in and outside of the courtroom. The very existence of judicial office is founded upon the trust of the citizens at large. The quality and the quantity of this trust is directly relatable to the behavior, conduct and performance demonstrated by the judge, not only inside but also outside the courtroom. Any deficiency in this regard erodes the public trust which ought to be viewed stringently. Now, moving further, we also have another important paragraph which I will also read it out and make in fact the last page of the report, which states that the committee holds the cash and the money which was found in the storeroom of 30 Tughlaq Crescent in the national capital officially occupied by Justice Verma. The more so, the access to the storeroom has been found to be within the covert or the active control of Justice Verma and his family members, and that by way of strong inferential evidence. It is established that the burnt cash and money was got removed from the storeroom during the wee hours of 15th of March from 30 Tughlaq Crescent. The last paragraph states that keeping in view the direct and electronic evidence on this record, the committee is firmly of the view that there is sufficient substance in the allegations raised in the letter of Honorable the Chief Justice of India dated 22nd March 2025 and the misconduct found proved is serious enough to call for the initiation of the proceedings for the removal of Justice Yashwant Verma, the judge of Allahabad High Court. All right, now joining me live on the broadcast is my guest Kanika Bhardwaj, Advocate Kanika Bhardwaj, who is a Supreme Court advocate, joins me live on the telecast. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. It's a big breaking that we're tracking at this point of time. The first reaction to the probe conclusion of the serious misconduct and the removal of the proceedings, ma'am.
So see, the first reaction that I would want to give is, see, since the very beginning, I have been saying this, that if the judiciary is in question, if the judges are doing such kind of activities, obviously the trust of the public in the entire justice system would be shaken. And in my previous statements also, in my previous interviews also, I've been saying that the proper procedure must be opted in which the reality should come in front of the people. And not only this, I'm also actually right now concerned about that. This is okay that whatever report that we have got is fine, but then now when will the impeachment process happen? Because when we talk about the impeachment process, it's a long process and it takes time. If we see the history also, if we see the past events also, I mean, how many judges have been, removed from the impeachment process? The data is like, I don't know, the data is very less actually, because I hardly know any judge as of now that has been removed by impeachment process in our country. So this process is not only very slow, but this process is actually, it requires a lot more efforts. Now, when will this happen? Now, when will Justice Yashwant Varma will actually be removed after this report is actually my question, because now the justice should happen as soon as possible to at least ensure the public trust in the judiciary process, or else the entire trust of the public will be shaken.
Well, Advocate Kanika Bhardwaj, in fact, continues to be with us, and thank you very much, ma'am, for being with us at this point of time. And we are also reading the witnesses' testimony that has been attached in the report. And let me firstly go across to my colleague Sambhav Sharma, who continues to be with us. Sambhav, what are you picking up before we read out to the testimonies of the witnesses that have been attached in the report, to share the latest of the biggest takeaways that the report and the probe report has rather exposed? All right, viewers, now before we get to my colleague, let's also understand how exactly the pointers which have been attached very categorically in the report for the witnesses' testimony state, where the presence of cash in the storeroom proved by the eyewitnesses. Now we are reading out exactly the report context pointers which pertain to the regard of the sub-issue, where the statement of various witnesses were recorded. The 10 eyewitnesses who have stated before the committee about the presence of cash in the storeroom are as follows, and as I can see, third witness, namely Ankit Sehwag, who is a fire officer of the Delhi Fire Services, states that after receiving the information from Pradeep Kumar and Parvindra Malik of these personnel on the call, there were currency notes which had caught fire inside the storeroom. I personally checked by peeping inside the room with the help of the torch and found out that large number currency notes of the denomination of 500 rupees were half burnt. Because of water spray, the burnt currency notes had become wet and had also been signed by fire. But from whatever was left of the unburnt notes, it was visible that they were of 500 denomination. When asked as to whether he made any Panchnama report, the witness informs that this is a job of Manoj Mehlawat, who is a station officer. The said Pradeep Kumar, the person whose quote we are reading out, and Parvindra Malik had further told that they had informed about the currency inside the storeroom having caught fire to their in charge station officer Manoj Mehlawat. Now we move forward with another witness testimony that has been attached in the report as a part of the evidence, and Pradeep Kumar, who is another fire official. The first respondents to this fire call were the fire officials, and now as we are looking at these testimonies, It's also time to speak to my colleague Sambhav Sharma, who continues to be with us on this very findings. We are only reading out the testimonies of the witness Sambhav, and as a report exposes that there has been cash which was burnt as the fire call was received. The report which quotes the statement of the fire officials in the Delhi Fire Services states, what are you picking up?
Well, 10 days, over 50, around 55 witnesses and several sitting and visits to the scene of the accidental fire that started around 11:35 p.m. on March 14 at the official residence of the then Delhi High Court Judge Justice Yashwant Verma. Everything is encapsulated in this report, and as you rightly pointed out, different the testimonies of different witnesses has also been put in the report and encapsulated in the report of this three-judge panel. And there are a lot of important pointers which we were discussing out earlier, and I want to mention few of them again here. And see such kind and also the kind of the kind of half-burnt currency notes seen and found during the process of dousing the fire in a highly and also very highly suspicious, and more so are not of small amount or denomination, which could not have been placed in the storeroom. This is what the panel notes in its report. As per the panel's report, and I quote, the half-burnt currency notes seen and found during the process of dousing of fire are highly suspicious items, and more so are not of a small amount or denomination, which could not have been placed in the storeroom without the tactic or active consent of Justice Yashwant Verma or his family members, unquote. So this is what the panel has noted in its report. A three-judge panel constituted by the then Supreme Court Chief Justice of India, Justice Sanjeev Khanna. And in its recommendation, the panel said, and I quote, keeping in view the direct and electronic evidence on record, this committee is firmly of the view that there is sufficient substance in the allegation raised in the letter of the Chief Justice of India dated 22nd March 2025, and the misconduct found proved is serious enough to call for initiation of proceedings for the removal of Justice Yashwant Verma, who is the judge of the Allahabad High Court, unquote. So this is what is the recommendation of this three-judge panel, which has submitted its report in the first week of May to Justice Yashwant, to the then Chief Justice of India, Sanjeev Khanna, who later on forwarded this report to President of India and the Prime Minister of India for further action against Justice Yashwant Verma. And also at least 10 witnesses examined by the panel acknowledged that having seen a burnt or half-burnt currency notes, and also as you were talking about, one witness, for example, said, and I quote here, as I entered, I noticed that on the right-hand side and in front, there was a large pile of cash of rupees 500 denomination lying on the floor, and I am not sure whether any such note of 500 rupees denomination were there on ledge or not. I was shocked and surprised that such large amount of cash, which was there on the floor, which I saw for the first time in my life, unquote. So this is what is said by one of the witnesses in the report, and it is pointed out in the report. It is written in the report, and this is the testimony of one of the 55 witnesses gave their testimonies in this to the particular panel, and who later on submitted report to the Chief Justice
As we are
of India.
also reading the further witnesses' testimony that the report has attached, and let me also read out another testimony of the fire officer, the Pradeep Kumar, who has stated of the incident while narrating it and giving the statement to the probe committee, saying that while dousing the fire, we were standing outside the storeroom and pointing the jet of the water inside the storeroom. But without entering the storeroom, when I could enter the storeroom, I felt something touch my feet. On close scrutiny, I found out that there was something which appeared like currency notes, which became visible because of reflection. I immediately informed Prakash Chand Meena, who was standing immediately outside the storeroom. Now, Prakash Chand Meena thereafter informed the station officer, and then he came with a rechargeable torch and came inside the storeroom. On the instruction of the station officer Manoj, he pulled down certain burning debris on a ledge. Another witnessed testimony that we are now moving forward to, which also pertains to what happened from the incident which had raised concerns on the practices of the judicial life in the case of Justice Yashwant Verma. Manoj Mehlawat, who is a station officer, states that I did take 2 photographs of the storerooms where the fire had erupted. I was told by Prakash Chand Meena that there were currency notes in the room which had caught fire, which I also saw at the point of time. The notes which were visible at the site were of the 500 denomination, and they were signed by fire and also got wet in the process of dousing. The embers were still burning off the shelf, and therefore we pulled them by instructing Pradeep Kumar to do the needful and to spread out the debris to reduce the heat. As I quote the statements by Manoj Mehlawat, who is a station officer, he said that I cannot tell for sure whether the fire occurred by short circuit. Though there was no electric heater in the room, the currency notes were being pulled down from the shelf and had fallen during the process. The witness identifies the site in question when the fire incident had taken place, when shown the video sent to the committee by the office of the Honorable Chief Justice of India. The witness admitted later that it is his voice whereby he is saying Mahatma Gandhi mein aag lag gayi hai bhai. Witness denies that the video has been made by him, though he admits that he had taken the 2 photographs, but the video had been sent to him. All right, now Sambhav joins me with more updates. Sambhav, while this has raised very pertinent questions, and the testimonies only give out the perspective that the fire at the residence of Justice Yashwant Verma had been caused not by the accident as per the statements. What are you picking up?
Absolutely, Simran. And also, if we read page number 17 of this particular panel report, and there are few questions framed, and I am reading it. Pointer 26 is the aforesaid first issue is foundational to the controversy, and thus the answer to the said issue will decide the fate of the issue number 2 and 3. And for further convenience, the committee framed the following sub-issues. The first question is whether cash was present in the store. The second question, whether the storeroom is located in or outside the premises of this particular 30 Tughlaq Crescent, New Delhi, where they used to reside. And the third question, what is the justification of Mr. Justice Yashwant Varma as regards presence of cash in the storeroom? So these were the 3 questions framed by the committee, and later on committee probed on each question. Took testimonies of around 50 witnesses, and finally came up with a report.
All right, Sambhav, continue to be with us on the broadcast. We are also getting more updates as this entire case of questions on the judicial, judicial ethics is concerned. While we are further reading out the testimonies of witnesses that has been attached in the report. Now, Bhanwar Singh, who is the driver of the Delhi Fire Services, the testimony has been taken on the 26th of March. It states that as I entered, I noticed that on the right hand side and in front there was a large pile of cash only of 500 denomination lying on the floor. I am not sure whether any such notes of 500 denomination were there on the ledge or not. As the driver states that I was shocked and surprised that such large amount of cash which was strewn on the floor, which I saw for the first time in my life. Pradeep Kumar and Pavindra Malik were also working inside the storeroom where I was also present. They were busy dousing the embers. The witness was shown the video accompanied with the letter from the office of Honorable Chief Justice of India, which is marked as Exhibit 6th. The witness, after having seen and heard the video, stated that the same is of inside of the storeroom, which was on the fire of the bungalow number 30, Tughlaq Crescent, Tughlaq Road, and the fire official who is working has been identified as Pradeep Kumar, fire official, in the video wearing helmet and dousing the fire. I do not know who was making the video, but I can identify the voice of Manoj Mehlawat uttering the words Mahatma Gandhi mein aag lag gayi hai. Sambhav Sharma joins me with more updates. Sambhav, now this is in fact a matter of utmost importance as far as the ethics of the judicial life and the laid down principles is concerned. The big question remains also that what happens to be afterwards, as the testimonies did point out at a serious breach. All right, viewers, now on that note, that is a big story that we are tracking at this point of time very closely. Now with more news and updates on the other side, stay tuned.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.